Hello guys, I'm Shahzad from channel Jack Series Talk. So this is 5th episode. In this episode, I'm gonna talk about 10 tips how you can survive housemanship. For those medical students and housemans out there, I hope this video will benefit you the most. And if you do like this video, don't forget to hit like and share button. And if you do, please subscribe. So for this topic, housemanship. So as you know, housemanship is 2 years period of training in which all those fresh medical graduates, they just came from medical schools, they're just starting their job, and there will be housemans. Housemans is fresh green doctors that just stepping into life as doctors. Generally, it takes 2 years, and you will be rotating in 6 different departments: medical, surgery, obstetric and gynecology, orthopedic, pediatric, and last one, where maybe in big hospitals you can choose the last posting, which is we call as elective posting. It can be either emergency posting, it can be anesthesia, or maybe psychiatry. But in some district hospitals with specialists, they can only be option for emergency department. So now I'll be talking about how actually you can survive this 2 years long period as houseman. The first step is choosing the place of practice. When you are selected to choose the place of practice, my recommendation is that you choose the place that is close to your family, close to your home. So why this is important? Because 2 years period as houseman, it can be stressful, and I can't deny that 2 years period as houseman can be very problematic for some, especially for those who have tendency to have emotional breakdown, or maybe they're already known to have emotional liability. So this group of people actually need special support group, even as a doctor. So when you are practicing at the place that close to your home, when you go home after work, you have your family or maybe your spouse to share your problems, to share about all those stress condition that you have during your works, so that the next morning you can start fresh. You will be more motivated. Of course, this does not necessarily apply to everybody, because some people may like to venture out, maybe a bit adventurous, and then they won't have any problem in adapting to the new environment, new scene, new people. And this group of people may choose any place that they want, and place that from their origin is not really matter. Okay, number 2 is Prehousemanship course. Why I'm mentioning Prehousemanship course? Because not all medical graduates that stepping into housemanship actually knows what housemanship really about. Maybe they have the ideas of housemanship is stress, they can be scolded every time, they heard about their seniors that quitting from housemans. So the Prehousemanship course actually give you an early exposure so that you can adapt physically and mentally how works as houseman is, and how you can adapt earlier as houseman. Before I started my houseman back then, I joined a Prehouseman course made by Medicorp. For me, it's quite interesting course, and it gives you much detail regarding how the life of housemanship is, and then they will teach you basic knowledge and basic skills that you should have as a houseman. So this Prehousemanship course is actually good, especially for those overseas graduate that maybe did not have any practical exposure in Malaysia. And there are a lot of events, maybe not so much during this COVID pandemic season, but before this there are a lot of events and programs held around the country, mostly by NGOs. It can be free or paid, but anyway, they are all for me very interesting, and I totally recommend you to join in any program that you know and close to your area. Number 3 is time management. Time management is a very important and a key to daily task completion in ward. Why? Because when you finish the morning round as houseman, you will have a lot of job lists that you need to finish during the day, and there can be referrals, there can be blood taking, there can be discharging patients, or maybe any other job task list that you needed, like requesting for radiography and all that. You need to sort out the job by priorities, which one you should manage to do first and which one can be done later. For me, for example, when you have lots of referrals, it should be done in the morning, because frankly speaking, not all MOs really enjoy receiving referrals during their lunchtime and late in the evening, for example like almost 5, but of course not applicable to all. So It means that those things like referrals should be done in the morning, and because if you have any problem arises during the referrals, you can immediately refer to your seniors, superiors for assistance, and then you can proceed with blood taking, which usually should be available before the evening round. Then of course all of that need to be sought out according to the priorities and which one can give benefit to the patient first. The fourth tips that I want to tell you is teamwork. Teamwork is a very key to survive the housemanship, because without teamwork you just cannot complete your houseman smoothly. And of course, when I talk about teamwork, what I mean is again, when you finish the morning round, you have all those task lists, job lists that you need to finish by the day. I suggest you to divide among your colleagues, so which people do the referrals, which one do the blood taking, and which one should discharge the patient. And at the end of the day, you can come home together, and that's the sweetness of teamwork. Well, number 5 is two main pillars in surviving housemanship is attitude and also knowledge. Both of these should be present in all time, in all departments, and every time you work as a doctor. When talking about knowledge, of course, as a junior doctors, you just couldn't help that you couldn't remember all those things that you learned in medical schools, and sometimes your specialist or consultant ask you about certain diseases or certain things, maybe you couldn't answer them. So for the very least, you should have the basic knowledge to survive at the department, and knowledge that won't compromise the patient's safety. When talking about attitude, nobody enjoy working with people with bad manner, leave unfinished jobs, MIAs, and didn't help each other out. So these kind of people usually couldn't survive much during housemanship. And we all know that respect is earned and not given. Even you have 41 grade when you enter as houseman, you should know that your paramedics, which is lower rank than you, are more experienced than you, and they might be more experienced than your specialists, your consultants. That's why when working with your colleagues, with your paramedics, you should treat them and respect them the way you want them to treat you and respect you. Number 6 is you should do some readings. Of course, I know that housemanship is a very stressful period, and you might have lack of time to enjoy yourself. But as we know, there are now flexi system, and you are given shift system, which is a lot better than the previous 36 hours on call system. So now you are given more free time. You have all those post calls off, and then you have one day off. You should grab at least 1 hour per day to do some readings, so that you can top up all those knowledge, all those important information, all those diseases that maybe you didn't know, or you forgot during the day, or maybe you just couldn't answer what your specialist or consultant asked you. So that's why you need to spend a little time for yourself, for your reading, so that at the end of your posting, you can grab all those important things and all those important knowledge before you're transferring to the other department. And you must know that as you step into housemanship, it does not mean that your learning phase, your education phase stops, but it is the only beginning of your education as a medical doctor. Number 7 is you should put your emotion a little space in your heart. In our medical fraternity, you just cannot escape meeting people that we call as malignants. There are lots of malignant superiors, but you should know there are 2 types of them. There are malignant superiors that are actually trying to build you and trying to make you improve yourself, but there are also those malignant medical officers or superiors that just scold you for no reason and just didn't like you for the way you are. Well, I don't want to talk about my past experience, but you just need to meet them and embrace all those negative remarks that you receive from them and take it positively, because at the end of the day, what you should do is improve yourself. That's all. And then at the end of the posting, you prove to those maintenance officers, superiors, you are better and you are capable of being a houseman and medical officers in the future. Number 8 is you should make use of your off and leaves. Well, you should know that in this flexi shift system, you have 1 day off, and then you have post call off sometimes. So you have all those free time. Make sure you enjoy yourself during those free time, and just don't stick with your hospital work, and preferably just don't go near to the hospitals, because only these times that you have time for yourself. So make sure you do everything you want other than hospital stuff. Go shopping, play sports, play games, and spend your time with your family, so that when you clock in for your job the next morning, you will have a fresh start. So do enjoy your off. Number 9 is make sure you finish your housemanship in time and don't get extended. Well, it is of course easier to say than to be done. But what I'm trying to say is when you work as a houseman, you should set the priorities in your mind. The first one, of course, your patient safety. And number two is the responsibility you have to yourself as a houseman. So number two is what housemen usually forgot and tend to forget, because they always stick with the job and then they forgot to take care of the responsibility that they have on themselves. What I'm talking about is you should complete your logbooks in time, and then make sure you do your assessments in time, those mini CX, all this what requires in each department, all those CMEs that you need to prepare or presentation, and do approach your supervisors in time, because if you do everything at the end of your posting, you won't have enough time, because not all housemen can pass the assessments in a single attempt. And as we know, with this contract system, there won't be any permanent position given to those house officers that got extended. Last but not least is you need to set your intention right. So of course, when I say about intention, this should be the first thing that I should say, but I reserve it the last because I want you to remember it. The very next morning you start your duty as a house officer. When you clock in for your job, what is actually your intention? What is your goals during your work as a house officer? Do you only work for the sake of having monthly pay? So work as a doctor is a noble profession, and we are lucky enough to be selected to be those people that Allah selected to save people's life. You are saving someone's father, someone's mother, and maybe someone's children. So make sure you set your intention right. Every morning you set intention right, and inshallah, I think Allah will ease your day every day, ease your works, and He will help you every day in your job. So I think that's all 10 tips that I want to give you. So I do hope these tips helps you in any way, especially for those medical graduates that are awaiting their housemanship, waiting for their placement as a house officer. Don't forget to spend your time for some readings and do enjoy yourself while you have before you stepping into housemanship. And when you do, make sure you survive your housemanship in time and don't get extended. And I also hope there will be better system for house officers out there, and I hope you can survive and do enjoy your life as house officer, because you will miss it a lot when you become a medical officers. So that's all for me, and if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like and share button, and don't forget to subscribe.